like British aristocracy, freed from the drudgery of menial labor. For Southern planters, the slave economy made that possible. For decades after the American Revolution, Americans still self-consciously measured their civilization against Britons. When a European compared Americans favorably with Englishmen, it was widely noted. One Englishman remarked that he had expected to find a people very little civilized compared with Europeans, but to his astonishment he found that the people were kind and hospitable, that the manners of the higher classes were nearly as polished as could be found in any European country. Another European discovered that Americans were so much better educated, so much better informed, and possess so much better manners, that it is absolutely ludicrous to compare the people of Great Britain with them in those respects. And he marveled that even the servants are far superior to British servants. Yet Americans suffered from an inferiority complex. The French foreign minister, Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, who took refuge in America from the Revolution at home, noticed many Americans who wanted to pass for an Englishman, but never an Englishman who wished to pass for an American. The 19th century novelist James Fenimore Cooper, the first truly original American writer, lamented that there is no question that the people of this country defer in an unusual manner to foreign opinions, more particularly to those of the nation from which they are derived. Cooper thought, "No nation can properly boast of its independence while its opinion is under the control of foreigners, and least of all, a nation with institutions dependent upon the popular will." British nationalism had only recently appeared in the 18th and 19th centuries. Indeed, Cohn insisted that it was the French Revolution that spawned nationalism in the modern sense. So it is hardly surprising that Americans emerged from colonialism without a national identity. As late as the 1840s, Alexis de Tocqueville noted with mild irritation the intensity of American patriotism. But he judged that American patriotism originated from a decentralized system of government. How is it that in the United States, where the inhabitants arrived but yesterday in the land they occupy, he asked, how does it come about that each man is as interested in the affairs of his township, of his canton, and of the whole state, as he is in his own affairs? And he answered that it was because each man in his sphere takes an active part in the local government of society. Americans identified with their village, their state, and their region, rather than with the vague theoretical entity known as the United States. Most Americans lived their entire lives in the narrow confines of their state, rarely venturing more than a day's journey of about 50 miles in any direction. They had no knowledge of what Americans looked like in other parts of the continent. When the president of South Carolina College, Dr. Thomas Cooper, was asked by a foreign visitor about his nationality, Cooper replied, "If you ask if I am an American, my answer is, no, sir. I am a South Carolinian." Cooper wrote a widely circulated pamphlet titled Consolidation that defended the idea that the states were independent sovereigns that could secede at will. Virginia Congressman John Randolph agreed. "When I speak of my country, I mean the Commonwealth of Virginia." Randolph bluntly explained his devotion to states' rights. "We must preserve the rights of the states, as guaranteed by the Constitution, or the Negroes are at our throats." Racial prejudice helped cement the loyalty of some Americans to their states. Arguably, the Civil War was a conflict not between nationalism and sectionalism, but between Southern nationalism and Northern nationalism. The Western frontier both unified and divided 19th century Americans. The capacity of this limitless land to absorb millions of settlers opened new opportunities. The West offered Americans a fresh start, freed from the confines of their places of origin. It also opened a rift